In this video on coordinate geometry of the line, we're going to be looking at how to make the equation of the line, specifically when the slope is a fraction. Let's look at an example. So we want to find the equation of the line that passes through the point 1, 2 and has a slope of 1/3. So as usual, if we have a formula, let's make a note of it. And in this case, that'll be the equation formula. Remember, it's on page 18 of your log tables, which you should have opened next to you. And the formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now I'll note my point and my slope, and I'll label those x1, y1 and m. And now I'll substitute those into the formula, giving y minus 2 equals 1/3 times x minus 1. At this stage then, I want to get rid of my brackets by multiplying. So on the left I'll have y minus 2, and on the right I'll have 1/3 x minus 1/3. Now a couple of things to point out here. First of all, make sure that the fraction is clearly the coefficient of the x. Make sure the x does not look like it's in the bottom of the fraction. Second of all, when multiplying the fraction by the whole number here, feel free, if it's any more complicated than this, to use the calculator. That isn't a problem. Now, at this point, I need to decide what format I want my equation to take. So you might recall from the last video that we've got two options for how we present our tidied up version of the equation of the line. So we can write it in the form y equals mx plus c, or in the form ax plus by plus c equals 0. And this again depends on what they want you to do from the question. But generally, if they don't state a preference, and there isn't a preference stated here, we're going to favour the y equals mx plus c. But I'm going to show you how to do it both ways just in case. So let's look at y equals mx plus c first. And this just requires us to arrange these terms in such a way that its y is equal to. So the y will stay on the left, and your minus 2 will just go over to the right hand side, and because it's minus here, when it goes across it's going to add. So we're going to have y equals 1/3 x minus 1/3 plus 2. And again, don't be afraid to use the calculator here for this calculation, just to make absolutely certain that you're getting it 100% correct. And if you stick in minus 1/3 plus 2 into the calculator, it'll give you an answer of 5/3, which is an improper fraction. And to be honest with you, we're perfectly happy to leave the number here as an improper fraction. We don't need to change it into a mixed number. So that's my equation of my line in the form y equals mx plus c. If the question asks me to write it in the other format, ax plus by plus c equals 0, I would just make sure to organise these terms to have the x first, then the y, then the constant equals to 0. The only thing that I try to manage here is to make sure that the a, the coefficient of the x, is positive. So having a look at what I have at this point in my equation of my line, I can see that my x term is positive where it is, so I'll move everything over to that side of the equation. So I'll have 0 equals 1/3 x minus 1/3. The y has gone over and become a minus y, the minus 2 has gone over and become a plus 2, and now I have to just put things in the correct order. So I'll put the x first, then the y, then the number. So 1/3 x first, minus y, and then minus 1/3 plus 2, which gives plus 5/3, and then I'll just stick the equal 0 on the end. You might wonder why, if it was 0 on this end in the first line, I now have 0 on this end in the second line. Well, bear in mind that what we're saying in this first line is that this information is equal to 0. So if it's equals to 0, it's fine to say that this information is equals to 0. So you can put the 0 on either end. Now, when we're writing the equation of our line in this particular format, we like the a, the b and the c to be whole numbers. I could always also say here that I want a, b and c to be elements of z. I want them to be integers. So I need to just figure out a way of doing this with this line, and then I'll be finished. So it's actually pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to note that I've got a couple of fractions in this equation, and the fractions denominators are both 3. So if I multiply the entire equation across by 3, it will eliminate those fractions. So what I'm effectively doing now is multiplying the coefficients by 3. So 1/3 by 3 is going to give me 1, so I'll have 1x. This, of course, is a minus 1y, so timesing that by 3 will give me minus 3y. And 5/3 multiplied by 3 is going to give me 5. Again, if you're a little bit iffy at any stage there, don't be afraid to use your calculator to type in the calculation to guarantee that you'll be correct. And this is my final version of the equation of the line written in the form ax plus by plus c equals 0. Just again to point out, you do not have to do it both ways. You only have to do it one. Keep an eye out if the question wants you to do it one particular way. If not, we're quite happy to stick with y equals mx plus c. So now here's a question to do yourself. So pause the video here and complete the question, and then play and see if you're correct. And what I'd like you to do this time is find this in both different formats. So find it in the format y equals mx plus c, and also find it in the other format ax plus by plus c equals 0, just for the practice. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is make a note of the formula for the equation of the line. Again, that's in the log tables on page 18. And then I'm noting my point and my slope, and I'm labeling those. So I've labeled my information, and now I want to substitute in. Just watch out this time for signs. Okay, so when I sub in, I'll have y minus 3 equals minus 2 over 7 by x plus 1. And just take a second there to think about why, if the formula says minus, I'm writing down plus. We'll notice that it's a minus x1, but my x1 itself is also negative. So I'm writing plus here then into my bracket. And then I'll want to multiply out. And I'll have y minus 3 equals minus 2 over 7x minus 2 over 7. Okay, so first of all, now let's take this and organise it in the format y equals mx plus c. This just means getting y equals to everything else. So I'll leave my y on the left-hand side, and the minus 3 will come over. So now I've got y equals minus 2 over 7x minus 2 over 7 plus 3, and then I'll just do my addition, and again, use the calculator if you like for that. So finally, I'm going to end up with y equals minus 2 over 7x plus 19 over 7. So that's my y equals mx plus c format. And again, like I said, if they don't specify what they want in the question, we're perfectly happy to just finish off here. But just for practice, we're going to also take our equation this time and write it in the format ax plus by plus c equals 0. So if I want to write my line like this, I'm going to write everything on one side of the equation equals to 0. So I'd like, of course, don't forget my x term to be positive. And if I have a look at what happened when I multiplied out my brackets, my x term was negative. So this time I'll bring everything over to the left-hand side of the equation. So I've brought everything to one side, and now I've got 2 over 7x plus 2 over 7 plus y minus 3 equals 0. And I'll do a little bit of tidying up. So x, then y, then constant equals 0. So 2 over 7x plus y minus 19 over 7 equals 0. And again, don't forget that if I'm writing it in this format, I want the a, b and c to be whole numbers. So to achieve that, I'm going to look at my denominator, and I've got a 7 this time, so I'm going to multiply by 7 to get rid of that. So now timesing each term by 7, I'm going to get 2x plus 7y minus 19 equals 0. Again, at the risk of repeating myself, I'm not saying you have to do it both ways every single time. You only have to do it one. Keep an eye out for what the question is asking you to do. If they don't specify a preference, then we're quite happy to go with y equals mx plus c.